Foundations of technology. This we're going to talk about a little bit on how to some of the principles on how to create your magazine article, because you are going to create a magazine article. Again, it's going to be a page per person. One can flow over to the other, and so on. But you're going to come up with, if you have a team of 4, you're going to have 5 pages. One will be a cover, and then you have the magazine articles throughout. Then we'll put it all together, assemble it, and have a nice little magazine when you're finished. But first, you need the basic principles of graphic design in general. Graphic design is a big thing in our world. If you look around us, everything has graphics, everything has a design to it. So we want to kind of look at how to go about creating those. As you can see, we have here examples. Again, you can look everywhere. Your t-shirts, brochures, newspapers, posters, flyers, magazines, web pages, your shoes, clothing is a big part of this. Billboards, trucks driving down the road, you have stickers on the side of them. So graphic design is a big part of the way the world works. And understanding how the visual aspect of a product looks is kind of a neat thing. And hopefully I can go through and kind of teach you a couple little principles that will make your designs look really well. First thing you want to do is make sure, does it attract your eyeball? If the graphic you make or create or the color choices you choose does not have anything to attract you, people are just going to keep flipping the pages in your magazine. Or if you're on a shelf, if you go to Walmart and it doesn't stand out to you, you're just going to keep moving. So you got to have it hook you. So when we decide to start making the article for our magazine, the first couple lines must have a hook. Just like any other story, if your first couple lines doesn't have anything to hook you, then you're not going to do the job that you need to do. Then is it visually pleasing? That's the main thing graphic designers are there to do. Does it please your eye? Does your eye go from one side of the page all the way down through it, or does it just stay at the top and then you're done? Okay, so make sure going through these next principles that you try to understand them a little bit. First one I want to talk about is balance, and this for young people is hard to do, except there's 2 of them, symmetrical and asymmetrical, or formal and informal. The symmetrical is very easily done. The asymmetrical is very hard for young people to do, unless a lot of people must have the eye for it. If you're artistic, you're going to have a better chance of having an asymmetrical balance point of view. But if you're symmetrical, if you're not artistic, doesn't mean it's not going to come, but it just takes more work. Just like if you're an athlete, there's some that naturally are gifted, and some have to work harder to get there. So it's the same thing in graphics and the way you look at products in the world. If you look at balanced or symmetrical balance, it is when everything is equally balanced on each side. Doesn't mean it's exactly the same, but it's equally balanced. If you notice that this little brewer's chocolate, everything is, if I split this down the middle, it's evenly spaced out on both sides. Then look at the other one, we cannot do that. If I split it down the middle, this side's heavier than the left side. And that's what we call asymmetrical balance. It still looks pleasing, however, it doesn't balance. I'm going to show you a couple more examples of real photos, real pictures that we've created, and they're up around school, so you can get an idea of what symmetrical looks like and asymmetrical. Now, this is probably one of my favorite ones and one of the most important, I believe. Contrast is when 2 elements are completely different. The more different they are, the better contrast that you'll get. For example, if you look here, we have black and yellow. Those 2 colors contrast. We also have text contrast. The thick text at the top right here. This is very thick text. And then we have the very thin text. Now, next to each other, if you put those two texts together, they're going to create a contrasting effect. So contrasting can be done not just color. A lot of people assume color, but a lot of times your type of font you use, shapes. If you have a bunch of squares and you throw a round or a triangle shape included, that one is contrasting because it's completely different than the other ones. So just kind of look at contrast. Best way to see if you have contrast on your screen, take 4 steps back. Get out of your chair, take 4 steps back and look at your screen. If everything mushes together, you probably don't have any contrast. The text doesn't stand out. The pictures don't stand out. But if you go 4 or 5 feet back and you can see everything, and what I would do is get other people's perspective. Just because you think everything stands out, have somebody else, because you're not going to be the one reading your magazine the whole time. Somebody else will be reading your magazine, so make sure you let somebody else review it, look at it, and get their opinion. Their opinions do matter. Okay, the emphasis is kind of a neat thing. We can use different things to make a point of emphasis. If you notice, we use contrast, we use size, and we use color. So a lot of times contrast, it's all going to go back to that one contrast. You need to have a point of emphasis, and the best way to do that is having some contrast on your page. Okay, so if you want to make a certain point of emphasis in your magazine article, start the paragraph with a big letter or a different colored letter. So just make sure it in your magazine, it shows a point of importance. Say, hey, start here. Okay, so make sure that if you look again on the left, it's just a bunch of stuff. And on the right, it is a bunch of stuff, but now we have somewhere for my eyeball to go towards when I get to the page. So that's what your magazine article should have. Where is my eye going to go? And to show point of importance in your piece. Because there might be several point of importances in your article that you want to highlight. Well, if that's the case, make sure they stand out. And that's with emphasis. And the last one I want to talk about, and this is kind of hard to teach. It comes with the ability of the person behind the computer designing to make everything work together. Okay, when everything works together, we call that harmony or unity. Everything has a sense of belonging. They work well together. I'm going to show you some examples of good unity and some that just it doesn't work. Okay, so here are those pictures. Now here's right outside the technology room. I just want to look at it and see what kind of balance we have. Okay, if we look at it, if I cut it right here, is it equal on both sides? Yes or no? Well, if you said yes, you are correct. Okay, everything is equally balanced from the left side to the right side. Okay, so that's one thing I want you to look on this one. I'm going to show a couple more. Now on the left side, what is your point of emphasis? This poster right here, what's your point of emphasis? Where's your eye migrate to? Well, if you looked at it, my eye went to this right here. Now, you could have great contrast, you can have great point of emphasis. However, if it doesn't work, there's no unity. Your eye should not go to this right here. Your eye should probably go to the title first, which some of you probably didn't even see the title because it's so light. There's not enough contrast up there. There's too much emphasis on this .com. So make sure you understand that it doesn't, you can have all the principles, but it doesn't work together. And this right one right here is a great piece of work that one of our students did, and it has great unity. Your eyeball can go through that page for a long time. You just keep looking. And that's what unity works and how that works. Okay, that's all for this video, and hopefully you understand a little bit about graphics.